So I'm sure many of you know I'm a big fan of Tom Ford, and he's been dethroned when it comes to his fragrance. And the fragrance that this fragrance I'm about to talk to smells like, this one's just better. If you want to know about the fragrance that murders Tuscan leather, in my personal opinion, stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? My name is Joshua, and this is our channel, ScentSense. To all loyal subscribers who continue to stick with me through thick and thin and quarantine alike, I thank you. You fine folks, wherever you may be across this globe, thank you so much. And to all you new people who are maybe checking out the channel for the very first time and you're trying to decide if you want to stick around, take a load off, grab yourself a comfy chair. Maybe you have one of those things you hang around your neck and you clip your phone in so you can lay down and lazily watch videos and just, enjoy. And maybe you'll subscribe. I don't know, we'll see. Today we'll be talking about a fragrance from a house called Argos. Argos is a fragrance house that bases their fragrances off of mythology. I get kind of geeked out when I hear about fragrance houses, especially niche and indie fragrance houses, that have a story to tell. With zoologists, you get stories about different animals and different species of animals. With imaginary authors, you get these great, brilliant stories that don't exist by these authors that also don't exist. From juice box, you get fragrances that are based off of music, where you combine music notes and fragrance notes and just bring something special to the table. But if you know me, especially if you know me personally, I love Greek mythology, and I love mythology in general. From stories of Hercules and Zeus and Poseidon and Mercury and all of these guys from back in the day that just kind of hyped everybody and made the Colosseum shake. These are fragrances that I love that come from the house of Argos that definitely bring those stories to life. Today we'll be talking about a fragrance that I did a first impression with, and I've had the time to really wear this around the house, really experience it, wear it outside in the sun, wear it outside in the shade in the cool weather, and just kind of get an idea of, man, how does this thing work? What does it do? How does it grow? How does it change? What is this fragrance? The fragrance we're going to be talking about from the house of Argos is Bacio Immortale. So their box is pretty legit. As you see, you have the lovely Psyche here and Cupid, a love story forged in the tests of time. And as you can see right here, he's granting her the kiss of immortality, which is where you get the name Immortale. It has a really beautiful art. It's got, clouds on the side and the top. It's got that basic information that really none of us read, that fragrance brands have to put on the box for, liability reasons and mumbo jumbo, and we don't care. Sorry, we just don't. But let's get to the box that's within the box. This beautiful box has this faux blue leather-like appeal to it. It's got the name embossed in silver, the brand at the top with the eye. It's got this magnetic, flap. That's how it opens. And it opens up and it has like the sunk-in coffin effect that a lot of higher-end fragrances have, and it fits very snugly. As you can see, it's not gonna fall out here, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it out anyway. And before we get to this bad boy, let's just look at this. It's got the printing on the inside. It's got a story to tell you. It kind of tells you the idea behind the fragrance. If you want to learn more about that story, you can go ahead and watch my first impressions where I break that down. I'm not gonna waste your time here. I really want to spend a lot more time on this. So you know what, let's just get past that. So before we go ahead and dive into this fragrance, let's just discuss the notes, put them out there so you can get an idea of what I'm painting. In the top notes, you're gonna get bergamot, lemon, pepper, and raspberry. In the mid notes, you're gonna get some more pepper in the form of pink peppercorn. You're also gonna get some leather, some violet, and some jasmine. And in the base, you're gonna get leather again, which rears its head again, some oud, some musk, some birch, and vanilla. So now that you know the notes and you've already seen the prelude, the introduction, this, in my opinion, is a Tuscan leather murderer, killer, assassinator, whatever you want to call it. This does everything right for me that Tuscan leather did wrong. I know you're asking me what exactly do I mean by that. And for me, Tuscan leather got a little too dirty, got a little too dry for me. It got a little too much more on the leather side. And leather's not a bad note, but I find that when you soften it, it really brings out the specialness of leather. It makes it smell a lot more wearable and less like the inside of a BMW. I'm sure you heard raspberry, and I'm sure you heard leather, and that immediately, in my opinion, brings up Tuscan leather. And what this does that Tuscan leather doesn't do is it makes it bright and super juicy and fruity, and it still keeps that leather and it keeps it prominent to where you're not thinking this is just a super sweet fragrance. This is something that melds the worlds of masculine and feminine and does it very, very well. And I think it's very cool that you have Psyche and Cupid together in this fragrance because you get that kind of vibe. And Cupid is actually known as Eros in another form of mythology, which is kind of cool because when you think of Versace Eros, you think of sweet and minty, but you get that sweetness and that lovey-dovey kind of vibe when it comes to that fragrance. And that's where I think they got the name for that. But what I get from this is this leather accord that just gives you this masculinity and this oud and this birch that gives it this earthiness and this strength. But then you get the sweetness, which plays such a strong role, that vanilla, and then you have those florals that work really well together, but raspberry is really shining bright in this fragrance, and that's what makes this one so good. Before I go further in the fragrance, I'd really like to discuss the bottle. So when I saw a live of Justin Copeland talking about these bottles and Argos showing them on their website, I thought, man, that looks tacky. But when you hold it in hand and you see it in person and you feel the weight and you see the exquisiteness of the presentation, you really quickly realize it's not nearly what you think it might be. To be honest, at first I thought this was gonna be a cheap reach at what like a high-end Versace fragrance would look like. You know, the Greek pillar style, the heavy thick glass with the metal on the front. I thought this was gonna be some kind of like sticker that's like not raised, just flat. I thought the cap was gonna be super light. I thought the bottle was gonna be eh. But I've got to tell you, this thing right here, you could probably dislodge someone's retina. You probably could like throw this through one of those glass doors, the fire hydrants behind. It says break in case of emergency. You would just bow. You might puncture the fire hydrant. But at the end of the day, this thing right here is just a great quality bottle. You got Argos here stamped or embossed. It's raised right here on the front. It has Argos again on the cap, which I think is really cool. It's got the logo of the company on the cap, which is also a thing that you see a lot of times in, fragrance brands. But the coolest part is this metal placard that's on the front. And as you can see through the bottle, it's not like, stuck on the edge. It's kind of in an indentation in the glass. And it's super nice, hard metal. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you can hear that. I mean, it is in there, and it's got the gold inlay of the color with the silver accent, and then it says Bacio Immortale right here on like one of those scrolls, which is a cool attention to detail. And of course you've got Psyche and Cupid right here on the front, which I have to say I'm actually impressed. At first I was hesitant, I've even mentioned it with a friend of mine. We were discussing it and I was like, dude, I think he really messed up with these bottles. But like I said, holding it in hand, feeling the weight of the bottle, seeing it in person, and then seeing it on camera up close, it's a really nice bottle. So getting back to the fragrance, what do I get from this fragrance? As I said before, I get Tuscan leather done better. It's not often that a fragrance brand makes a fragrance that smells close to another fragrance and it isn't just a clone copy or a crappy watered down version. You also get Spirito Fiorentino from Tiziana Terenzi, which is often compared to Baccarat Rouge 540, but in my opinion, Spirito Fiorentino is a better fragrance. It's more masculine, it's better balanced, it's more leaning towards a man, and it's easier for a man to wear. Having said that, I get the same thing with this one. This is Tuscan leather done sweeter. This one's done more seductive. This is not as harsh and dirty and dry of a leather. This is a smooth, creamy, sexy leather. This definitely speaks to the story of love between these two. The soft feminine with the masculine in it, it definitely is balanced really, really well. And it's definitely a love story in fragrance. Having said that, my wife hates leather. I have ombre leather. I have this. I have lots of other fragrances like this. What is it? African leather. She just hates leather. This one for me though, I think is super sexy. And I've been told by other people when it came to Tuscan leather that they thought it was a sexy fragrance. And I can tell you that this one amps up the sexiness. When do I think you should wear this fragrance? I think this would be a perfect fragrance for the fall time and the winter time, but I don't think you have to hold off on buying this fragrance now. I think this would be perfect for date nights. This would be perfect for the 65 to 70 degree weather in the nighttime, dressed up real nice. You're trying to get some in the sheets action. This would be an in the sheets fragrance. This is gonna work. I'm telling you, you're gonna smell like $1 million. You're gonna smell like you got a lot more money than you really do. You might be driving a Mazda Miata, but you Ubered because you wanted to be responsible, and you show up and she's thinking, he must drive like an Audi or something. But in all actuality, you've got a Yaris at home. It's a stick shift, and you're trying to get good MPG. Bacio Immortale is something that you should grab if you smelled Tuscan leather, you've owned Tuscan leather, and you just want something better, and it's actually cheaper. I'll go ahead and put the price of the fragrance on the screen right now. And yes, I know what you're thinking. It's pretty high. But at the end of the day, it's still cheaper for the same amount of mLs as you would get from Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. It's a lot cheaper and the quality is there. Now, I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, well, I can go on a Facebook fragrance group and there's this one dude who at one time in the past 3 years sold Tuscan leather at a supreme discount because he didn't know what he had and it was cheaper than that. So there, boom, Tuscan leather is cheaper. That's dumb. The best way to describe it or compare them is MSRP. What would you pay for Tom Ford's Tuscan leather if you went into Neiman's or you went into Nordstrom's or you went into any store that might sell it? And whatever that price is, I guarantee you it'll be more than this. On top of that, I also think the bottle is of a higher quality. You're getting a whole experience that's a little bit better than Tom Ford's, and that's just a personal opinion. When it comes to longevity, performance, sillage, all across the board, check, check, check. This thing lasted on my skin till the next morning. I woke up and I could still smell it. My wife smelled it and she's like, you still have that on? Why did you put more on? And I definitely didn't put more on. It just smelled that good, and she could definitely smell it from across the room and was kind of confused that it was still emanating from my skin. As far as sillage, it fills up a room. I've sprayed I don't know how many fragrances in this room today while I filmed these videos, so that should tell you, if I can smell this one above the whole crowd and noise, it definitely is gonna work if you're wearing it in a room with a lot of other people who, of course, will be wearing fragrance. The ultimate question is, would I buy this? Undoubtedly yes, because I had been holding off on buying Tuscan leather. I own Oud Wood, Sole de Positano, I own Plum Japonais, Costa Azzurra Aqua. I own many of the private label line fragrances from Tom Ford, but I haven't pulled the trigger on Tuscan leather because I just feel like it's a little too dirty. This does everything that fragrance does, but just does it better. There's not a single thing that Tom Ford Tuscan leather does better than this. So yes, undoubtedly, I would buy this. And if you're thinking about buying it, I got my guy over at Argos, Christian, to give me a coupon code so my viewers will get a discount. It's ScentSense 10. You'll get 10% off of your discount. And if you buy one of these big bottles, if I'm not mistaken, shipment is free, completely free on shipment. So on top of that, the savings of just not having to pay shipping, which you guys all know, especially on these bigger bottles and these high-end bottles coming from all over the United States, it's quite high. But take into consideration, you don't have to pay for that. You're also gonna get another 10% off. So you're saving another 20 or so bucks, which in my opinion is pretty good. And I felt like I'd be a failure not to mention the other fragrances that I think you should check out if you go to the website. The main one is the originator of the line, the first fragrance. And as you can see, I've burned through half the bottle. This is Argos Pour Homme. Think if Versace didn't crap the bed with their current high-end, line that they just released, and they released a high-end fragrance that would give you the vibe of all the other great Versaces out there, the Pour Homme, the Dylan Blue, the Mano Fraiche, this would be it. This is Versace niche. This is high-end, clean, crisp, pumped in the air in hotels kind of vibe. This is high-end, man. This is a great summertime fragrance. crisp, lemony fragrance. I wear it every summer. And as you can see, when it comes to how many bottles I have, I've burned through quite a bit of juice, and I love this one. And it's Mother's Day coming up, guys. And Mother's Day is a time when you gotta make mom feel special. And you gotta stop buying your mom those crappy Beyonce fragrances or the Ariana Grande fragrances because you're being a cheap asshole. You just got a huge, massive stimulus check. I know not everybody, can blow it on just about anything, but mom's important. And right now is a vital time to let everybody who's important to you, let them know they're important. Your wife also, if you have a wife, or a sister or whoever it may be. Argos Parfum is a fantastic, seductive, alluring, vanilla-based fragrance. My wife doesn't like it, and as you can see, there's not a whole lot missing because she only wears it when I beg her to. She's not a fan of it because she's not a fan of vanilla. Fragrance notes she's not a big fan of: vanilla, coconut. She doesn't care for grapefruit, and she definitely doesn't care for leather or oud. So, a lot of times there are fragrances that I think are spectacular that she doesn't care for, but that doesn't mean that your mom, who is in love with creamy, seductive fragrances, won't love them. And you can use the same coupon code, ScentSense10, you get a discount, and that'll definitely work for you being able to get these high-end fragrances for the person you care for. And Father's Day is right around the corner too, guys. You can jump the gun. Buy it while you can. Get it over with. You know what I'm saying? Just buy it all up and stock it somewhere, because you know what? You never know when you might get out and live normal life again. All right, guys, I want to say thank you to Christian over at Argos for giving me the ability to review this fragrance. I thank you so much for it. I will definitely wear it out and about. I won't wear it with my wife, but I will wear it to work. I will wear it to hang out with friends, and I will wear it to any kind of special occasion. I think it's fantastic. I think it's sexy, and I appreciate you thinking of me and allowing me to feature this fragrance. And this is the point of the video where you and I start to discuss things. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know, have you smelled this fragrance? Are you a fan of Tuscan leather? Would you rather have a better version of Tuscan leather? Or do you feel like Tuscan leather kind of lets you down in some aspects? Go ahead, comment below. If you made it to this point of the video, that means you've enjoyed the content. So subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, like the video, because that lets me know, well, you liked it. And while you're at it, go ahead and click the notification bell. That way when my videos come out, you'll be the first to know. And as always, and most importantly, Fragrance Fam, I'll smell each and every one of you later. Peace.